Hello and welcome to a special edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we are going to be attempting a cryptic crossword by none other than Steve Pemberton, the brilliant actor and writer behind such programs as Inside Number 9 that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Now, Steve appeared on Taskmaster recently.
You asked them to bring in the best thing that you can get into.
I have brought you in today's Guardian newspaper. I thought, like a hobby, you could get into doing cryptic crosswords.
This better get good soon, mate.
OK. Well, what I hope someone might have been impressed by is the fact that I wrote today's cryptic crosswords.
Now we're talking.
We can have a look at it.
Oh, well.
Nice.
And this brings back memories for me, because I remember I have done one of Steve's other cryptic crosswords, because Steve sets under the pseudonym, let me go up here, Sphinx. And that is really... and I did a video of a Sphinx crossword that appeared in an episode of Inside Number 9. It appeared on the channel a few years ago. I'll try and remember to put a link on the screen. But I really enjoyed that puzzle, and I'm going to try this one. And apparently there is some thematic material in this as well that we can try and find, should we be able to finish it. Now, I've got my dictionary ready. Let's just check it's in the right place on the screen, in case we need it. I won't use the dictionary except to justify things at the end, unless I get very stuck. But yeah, let's get cracking and see what Steve has constructed. Here we go, one across. Friend kept back after school scripture lesson. It increases pressure. Yes, there's a different interface today. I mean, I don't know what this is. Friend kept back, I'm thinking short synonyms for friend. Pal is the one I think is most likely. So pal backwards would be lap. After school scripture lesson, relapse or something. It increases pressure. I don't know, I haven't got this one. Let's try one down instead. Island copper gets qualification. Right, this one I can do. So as usual, if you're not used to cryptic crosswords, a cryptic crossword can be reduced, in fact, to a quick crossword if you're good enough at reading the clues, because every cryptic clue has a straightforward definition of the answer in it, and that straightforward definition is almost always at the start or end of the clue. So if I tell you that this is a 4-letter island, you might be able to come up with some ideas for what it might be, and then it's a case of justifying how that island is broken down into copper gets qualification. Now, if you see words like copper in a cryptic crossword clue, very often we're talking about the periodic table. So you do have to have a familiarity with what the periodic table of elements abbreviations are. Now, if you are familiar, you'll know that copper is Cu. Not C8, Cu. Sorry, I'm not used to this interface at all. Cu. So can we think of an island that's going to fit now? Well, it's not too difficult, is it? It's going to be Cuba. And a qualification here is a Bachelor of Arts, something you may go to university to get. So Cuba is going in at 1 down. Now let's try 10 across before we go back to 1 across. Bishop. Okay, well, let's stop there. Bishop is probably this B. Now, some people, when they get into cryptic crosswords, they think, this is mad, because it seems like you can take any word from a clue and abbreviate it to its initial, and it stands for its initial. That is not at all the case. You can only abbreviate words that are justified by the dictionary. So if we look up B, the letter B in the dictionary, we will find one of the, there we go, bishop in chess. So it has to be supported. You can only abbreviate to initials words that are supported by the dictionary as representing that initial. And B is bishop from chess notation. If you go bishop to A5 or something, bishop X A5 would be how that would be notated, and that is why bishop can be B in cryptic crosswords. So I haven't got very far with analysing the clue, but that is how they work. So bishop playing slow sport with jack. I'm now a bit worried actually that B is not bishop. Playing slow. Oh no, I have got it. A sport with a jack. That's very nice. Okay, yeah. So what we're being told here is to play around with the word slow. And when cryptic crossword writers ask you to play around or manipulate or do anything like that, they're talking about anagramming. So if we anagram the word slow, we can create owls, and that gives us bowls, which is a sport you play with a jack. So again, if we revisit the clue now, bishop playing slow sport with jack, it sounds like a bishop is meeting his friend Jack and playing a slow sport of some sort. And that's exactly what Steve will have been hoping. He will have been hoping that we read it like that, whereas actually we have to read it completely differently in order to understand why the answer is bowls. Now let's try 2 down now. Jaws was back with Bond's boss, that must be M, replacing head of Spectre. I really like the clue, because it's obviously talking about James Bond in various iterations. Jaws was back with Bond's boss replacing head of... Okay, yeah, I have got this. Okay, so here, what we have to do, firstly we have to try and detect which side of the clue is the straightforward definition, and here it's jaws. So this is a 3-letter word that means jaws. And then it says was back. Well, what could that mean if we try and read it cryptically? It sounds like we just reverse the word was, and that would give us saw, wouldn't it? Does saw mean jaws? No. So there's more we have to do. With Bond's boss, well, Bond's boss is M in the films, replacing head of Spectre. Well, the head letter of the word Spectre is an S. So if we replace the S in this clue with an M, we get more, and more, one's more, are one's jaws. So I think that's very nice and almost certainly right. Let's try 3 down. Examination in art is erroneously withdrawn. Well, I want this to be... Yes, okay. So here again, I'll tell you what the definition is. This time it's examination. So we need to find the name of an examination that will fit into 5 down. Now, in art is erroneously. So what that's saying is, look at the string of letters that comprise the words art is erroneously. And inside those letters, you can find the answer to the clue. Now, the only complication here is the word withdrawn, because withdrawn is suggesting we reverse. So we actually have to reverse reverse the letters in the words art is erroneously, and you can see spelt out backwards R-E-S-I-T, resit. Oh, it doesn't jump over letters in this interface, so resit, and a resit is an examination. So let's go back to 1 across now. Friend, no, I was going to say compadre, but friend kept back after school scripture lesson. It increases pressure. I think this is going to mean it increases pressure. So it's something that increases pressure. And I haven't got it yet. So I'm wondering about a school of thought, might be a camp, so I'm wondering about camp RE for scripture lesson. Campri. I don't know it actually. I haven't got this at all. Where should we go now? Should we go 4 down then? Right. Poet's old love. Okay, I don't know what this is yet, but old love, if you see that in cryptic crosswords, it normally means one's ex-lover, one's ex. So X is probably involved here. Poet's old love, choked by nerve gas. Nerve gas could be, is that sarin or something like that? I don't know what this is at all. I think this is a very good crossword. And 5 down. Creature arisen upset after prince cracks eggs. Creature arisen upset. That feels like it's an anagram of the word arisen, because we have to upset the letters. After prince, that could be P. Cracks eggs. Short synonym for eggs, ova, E-O-V-A, that comes up quite often. It's the plural of ovum. Prince can sometimes be Hal in cryptic crosswords as well. Don't know, not sure. Let's try 6 across. Substitute rejected pads. Could that be swap? S-W-A-P? If you substitute something, you swap it, don't you? And pause, P-A-W-S. I think, you know, a bear's paw could be described as its pad. So pad and paw, I think, are synonymous. So reject a word for pads, paws, and that gives a swap. That feels okay, doesn't it? So 7 down. Where in Lancashire? So this is probably a place name in Lancashire. Oh, are we looking at Wigan or something? Fans make fans make such a noise. Were. I don't know. Fans make such a noise. I mean, that feels like it's going to be that, but I don't know that as a place in Lancashire. Okay, let's try 8 down. Bullies ultimately keen to break media injunctions. Press something. Press, that's very good. Yeah, okay, so we are. So here we're looking for a word that means bullies. And then the rest of the clue, let's read that carefully and see how it could work cryptically. Ultimately keen. What could that mean? Well, that's saying take the ultimate letter, the last letter of the word keen. That's N. And that needs to break, so it needs to enter a phrase or words that mean media injunctions. Now, media, beginning with P, that does seem like press, doesn't it? So let's try that. Now, can we think of something that means bullies that fits here? Well, press gangs was the thought I had. And that works beautifully, because then you've got gags for injunctions, taking the N being the last letter of keen. So press gangs is going to be right. Now that, well, I'm just looking at the checking letters. We get an A in 18 across. Let's see if we can use that. Force girl to keep one tipsy. I think this is going to mean force. I haven't got it. I think we're going to need a girl's name, keeping an anagram of the word one, because we're going to treat one in a tipsy way, in a drunken way. But I haven't got that, so let's try a different one. Where should we go? 11 across. CVIP opt. See, I haven't really thought through this clue, but I have to say that when I look at the phrase CVIP opt, it feels to me like the constructor has had to use those particular letters, because it's such a strange phrase, CVIP opt, that when I see to play after that, I'm thinking, okay, well, to play is to frolic. It means, it could mean anagram at least, couldn't it? And then hi-hat. So what is this then, if it's hi-hat? So if it's an anagram of CVIP opt. I haven't got it. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if that is an anagram. Okay, let's try 12 across. With nothing to lose, goes to the dodgy parts of town. Let's stop there and admire the wording of the clue. With nothing to lose, goes to the dodgy parts of town. I mean, that is a beautiful sentence, and yet apparently it functions as a cryptic clue. Yeah, okay. I have got this. That's brilliant. That is a brilliant clue. Wow. That's world class. With with nothing to lose, what could that mean in a cryptic sense? Well, that could say, look at a string of letters and remove the thing that represents nothing from them. Nothing can be an O because it looks like a 0. So let's take 0 or O out of goes to thee. Goes to thee is 9 letters. So if we take the O from that, or one of the O's from that, and we treat those in a dodgy way, we could anagram them. And then we want parts of town. And I think it's sort of... I think it's ghettos, isn't it? Which are dodgy parts of towns. It's almost like dodgy's doing double duty there. Oh, sorry, I mistyped. Ghettos, I think, is the answer. Now that might be helpful because we get an H in 13 down. So devil horns, devil's features. Shaved top to bottom. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, okay. So can we think of a 5-letter word that means shaved? Yes. I'll take the word shorn, and I'll move the top letter to the bottom, and that gives me horns, which are devil's features. So, devil's features shaved top to bottom. It's very nice, very nice. I can tell you this, Steve is a good cryptic clue writer. Let's try 15 down. I mean, if it's like 1 across 15 down. If we can get it, we're going to get 5 starting letters, which will be really helpful. So, drive a taxi. Reversing round church in drunken scenes. Oh, drive a taxi. I want that to be something to do with cab reversing. Around church. Is something like Bacchinalia or something? Which is sort of, I think they are drunken scenes, but I can't remember how to spell that. It's such a ludicrous word. I don't know. So maybe this begins BAC. Let's see if we can justify an A in 16 across. A government called to answer a criminal charge. Arraign. Yeah. So I think to arraign somebody is to call them to answer a criminal charge, isn't it? And governments sort of rule, they reign, so I think it's a homophone. So a reign, R-E-I-G-N. If a government can be thought of as a reigning, that feels fairly right to me. And then it's a homophone for a reign, R-E-I-G-N, which would be this, arraign, to answer a criminal charge. My phone is buzzing, that is not important. Right, let's try 4 down again. Sassoon is a poet that would fit. Sasso. Oh, hang on, what's going on there? Yeah, it's Sassoon. Siegfried Sassoon. Okay, and the reason this is correct is what we've got. So, as usual, one side of the clue is the definition. Here it's the word poet, so that's why Sassoon is the answer. Old love. Well, old can be abbreviated to O in cryptic crosswords. Let's double check that. Old, there it is, straight away. Love can be abbreviated to O as well, and that's from tennis scoring. 15 love means 15-0, and so O again, representing a 0. So we've got OO, that's choked, i.e. it's squashed into the middle, if you like, by a nerve. If you show nerve, you show sass, you show cheek, don't you? And gas is nitrogen gas, N. So we've got another appearance of a chemical element there, and that gives us sassoon. So what's this then? Friend, kept back. Oh, this increases the pressure. No, I haven't got it. Oh, look, and we've got an S now in this one for the hi-hat. It's got a V in it as well. I don't know. Let's go back to 17 down. Fake daughter removed from Sir Tom podcast. Right. Okay, now this would not be allowed in the Times, but is allowed by The Guardian, I think. So I haven't actually got it, but I think I know how it works. So the way I'm reading this is daughter can be abbreviated to D, and daughter is removed from Sir Tom Pod. Now, if we remove D from Sir Tom Pod is 9 letters, so that would give us 8 letters. And if we then cast those letters, we throw them, we anagram them. Now, the reason that some crossword editors wouldn't like this is that podcast is one word, so it doesn't mean cast the word pod or cast the words before pod. You have to split it up. So if it was pod and then a separate word cast, it would absolutely mean what it says. But here you have to view it a bit cheekily. But if I've read it correctly, then we need an anagram of Sir Tom P.O. that means fake. Imposter or something, isn't it? Or it's something like that. Impost. It is. It's just imposter, I think. I think it's imposter. Sorry, there may be a bit of children's noise at the moment. It's that time on a Friday when I'm recording this. Anyway, 20 across. Trace of sewage found in abandoned septic tank. I mean, it's brilliant. It's just beautiful. The wording of the clue is beautiful. You know, it conjures a rather revolting image in this case, but it's gorgeous, and I can see how it works. Trace of sewage is saying take a trace of the word sewage, just take a smidgen of it. So that's going to be the first letter, the S. If you ever see that trace of something, it's never going to mean take the W. That just by convention, it'll always mean take the first letter. So trace of sewage is going to be take the S and put that, because that's found in abandoned septic. So let's anagram the word septic. Put S in the middle, and we're going to get a word that means tank. And the answer is cesspit, which is it's very appropriate, given we're talking about sewage and septic things. Right, let's try 21 down. Jenny. Well, let's stop there. Jenny, I know, is a donkey or an ass, so I'm wondering if this is going to have ass in the middle of it. Entertained by draws. Scottish cups. It's probably tassies. I don't know that word. Tassies. But draws are ties, aren't they? If you get a draw with somebody, you tie with them. So that's what I would go with. I mean, I'm going to be keeping an eye on the checking letters here to see if that is supported. Let's try 25 across. Most graceful Soviet letters regularly focus with Putin. Most graceful, sveltist or something. I quite like sveltist. Let's just put that in and see if we can justify it. Because Soviet letters regularly, if we take the regular letters that appear in the word Soviet, so let's take the odd numbered letters, letters 1, 3 and 5, we'd find SVE, which is quite good, isn't it? Oh, in fact, no, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's use letters as well. Take the regular letters. So take the odd numbered letters from Soviet and letters. Then we get SVE, LT, ES. Focus with Putin. Okay, so that would give us everything apart from this T at the end. And I'm just trying to understand why focus with Putin gives T. Focus with... I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe that for the focus of the word. I mean, I can see T as the central letter, so perhaps it's the focus of the word. I'm not used to the Guardian conventions and whether that's how it would be permissible to read that. But I think sveltist it must be. given that if you take the odd numbered letters from Soviet letters, you get virtually the whole thing spelt out. Focus with Putin. So sveltest. Now we get a T at the start of 26 down. So let's. Oh, hang on. I'm going to have to scroll here. Brass instrument, large and cylindrical. Okay, so this means cylindrical. And therefore, let's go back up. Brass instrument, beginning with T. Tuba. Large can be abbreviated to L. You'll see that if you go shopping and you try and buy a t-shirt and have a look on the label, it might have an L on it, and that will mean large if it does. So tubal, must be a word that means cylindrical. I can't say I've ever used it, but I can believe it exists. Now we're going to have to go scrolling again. 29 down, or 29 across, sorry. Apathetic, labour's leader in bed. Pathetic. Labour's leader in bed. It's another great word. It's beautifully worded. I think it's going to mean apathetic, because then I can put the Labour's leader, which is, it's not going to be a reference to Keir Starmer. It's going to be a reference to the leading letter of the word Labour, which is L. And we're going to put that L in a 4-letter word. Oh, bunk would be a bed. Blunk. No, that's not a word, is it? Don't think so. We need a 4-letter word for bed. That's not, and it's not bunk unless blunk is a word, but I don't know blunk as a word. I don't think David Blunkett is going to make an appearance in this somehow. So let's try and just have a look at 30 down. Mountain with friend pushing penny to the bottom. Okay, I can do this one. So, can we think of any 3-letter words for mountains? And actually, I can think of 2. Ben is a word for a mountain, as in Ben Nevis. But if we go slightly further afield and we go to Europe, we might find an Alp. An Alp is a mountain. So if we take the word Alp, well, take the word pal for a friend, and we move the penny part of the word pal, the P, to the bottom, we would get Alp, which is going to be the answer. So let's go back to the Labour leader. I mean, it looks like it wants to be Tony Blair, doesn't it? It won't be. Yes, I mean, this is a good point in terms of learning to do these. Just because we're looking at this clue and we can see that, well, Tony Blair was a Labour leader and it says Labour's leader in the middle. That must be the answer. No. No. Almost certainly this is not the answer because it's in the middle of the clue. And the clue has to make sort of mathematical sense. What do I mean by mathematical sense? Well, clues, as we've seen, they're arranged in terms of equations. A plus B equals C, or D equals X minus Y. That's how they work. They don't tend to work by sort of A plus B equals A plus B equals C equals X minus Y. So that the equals part is very rarely in the middle. Bed. I think we're just looking for a word for bed that begins... I don't know. Let's get 27, then I might be able to get it. He died pinching a loaf. Okay, so this is a generosity. Some people say this is a good tip for cryptic crosswords. If you look at the very last down clues, certainly whenever I've written a cryptic crossword clue, and I have written a few cryptic crosswords in my life, by the time I get to the last down answers, these would be the last ones I clue, because I would clue the acrosses first, then I would clue the downs. So by the time I get down here, I just want to finish. I cannot tell you how much you want to finish by the time you get down here. So sometimes people think, okay, well, the last few down answers are probably going to be the easiest to get, because the constructor will be tired by the time they write these clues, and therefore they might be easier. And he died pinching a loaf is not too difficult. We're literally going to write the word he in. Died can be abbreviated to D, and that string needs to pinch, it needs to surround an A, and that gives us head. And your loaf is, your loaf, a loaf can be described as your head, a sort of colloquialism. So now, what is this one? Apathetic, blasé, base. Oh, base for bed. Yes, that's fine, isn't it? Okay. So blasé is apathetic, L is Labour's leader, and that goes in a word for bed, 4-letter word, which is going to be base, and that's therefore we've understood that, and it was nothing to do with Tony Blair. So 32 across. Tailless fish rolled in seed, nuts, and cooked in breadcrumbs. I want to say escalloped, which is not normally a verb, but I think that's, or escalloped, maybe it's an adjective. It's sort of a description. And what I can see from that is that seed nuts, it's very nice, isn't it? Rolled in seed nuts. It makes it sound like it's rolled in seeds and some nuts, and then it's cooked in breadcrumbs. But actually nuts here is doing duty as an anagram indicator. It's saying, look at the word seed, and if it's nuts, it's gone mad, then we can anagram it. So that would give us this and this. Tailless, it's going to be pollock rolled, isn't it? So a pollock is a fish, and if that's tailless, it doesn't have its K at the end. Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on. Pollock. Scallop. Yeah, that must be right. Pollock. Pollock is an O there, isn't it? That's escalloped. Yeah, that's probably right, rather than escalloped. So escalloped. So we've got pollock, tailless, rolled, i.e. reversed, in an anagram of seed to give a word that means cooked in breadcrumbs. And we'll look at some of these meanings at the end. So let's go back up here. 22 down. Side salad of eel has slice of cucumber on top. I haven't got this. But, well, I talk about how I'm reading the clue. So, if you can find references in clues to positions of things, that's almost certainly wordplay, because the constructor is trying to manipulate the letters. So, slice of cucumber on top makes me think we take a slice of the word cucumber. That will be the letter C, the first letter. So it's a bit like that other one we saw where it was, what was it? Trace of sewage. It's going to be the first letter. If we're taking a slice of cucumber, it will be the first letter. So that's probably C. And that's on top of something. It's a down clue. So if we put a C on top of something, that would work very nicely with the C going at the start, wouldn't it? So that's what I'm expecting. Now, if that is true, the definition here has to be side or side salad. Oh, no, okay. It must be pollack then, because escalloped is going to be the answer. So this is just my inability to spell the word pollock, which must be P-O-L-L-A-C-K, because I have got the side here, and it's another great clue, full stop. It's a great clue, because when you read side salad of eel, it's very difficult for me at least. I can see that you could separate side from salad, but it's not natural to do that. But then what Steve has done is he's taken the meaning into such a weird place, from side salad of eel with its slice of cucumber to a London football team, which is Chelsea. So what we actually need to do here is to take a salad of eel and has. Now, if you take a salad, you sort of mix it up, don't you? So it's saying anagram, eel and has, and put a slice of cucumber, put the C on top, and then we can create Chelsea, which is a side, as in a side in the Premier League. That's beautiful. And that's also confirmed my escalloped at the bottom, or my spelling of pollock to be more precise. So 22 across. Craving, strong desire, presumably. Artist returning for sculpt. Oh, something like, yes. Oh no, okay, it's not craving. Golly, yeah, that's great. Strong desire with artist returning for sculpture. Okay. So, a strong desire is a craving, but we need to take that word with its artist returning. Now you may say, well, look at the word craving. What artist is possibly relevant here? Well, believe it or not, RA is often used in cryptic crosswords as an abbreviation for an artist, because it stands for something like Royal Academician or something. But it's ubiquitous. It happens all the time. So if we know that artist can be RA, Then we can take a word that means strong desire, craving, and look at its RA and reverse it, and that would give us AR, and we get carving, which is sculpture, isn't it? Sculpture is carving, and that's sort of confirmed by the word for, because remember when we talked about mathematical equations? So the for here is doing duty as an equal sign. It's saying do some things with strong desire and your artist returning, and that will equal the answer, which is a word that means sculpture. So it's carving, I'm very sure. 19 down. Gets toupee in case of thinness. Okay. Can we think of any short synonyms for any words in this clue? Especially the word toupee. And you could probably immediately thinking of wig. Okay, well, how could that work here? So, the case of the word thinness. Well, the casing letters of the word thinness are T and S. And if we put wig in T and S, we get twigs. And if you twig something, you get it. You understand it. So that's probably going to be right there. 9 down. Troops run shelters to follow drug dealer. Drug dealer might be a mule, or run shelters to follow drug dealer. I don't know that one. There's a lot going on in that one. Let's try 23 across. A German. That might be the German word for a, ein or einer. Bearing last of gifts for her. Well, the last letter of the word gifts is S. A German bearing. I mean, could that be the German word for north, south, east, or west, which is slightly terrifying. I think I do know some German. Nord would be north. I want to say Ost is east. Sud for south, maybe? Right. Another way of reading this was it could be A, literally plain text. Very good cryptic crossword writers will hardly ever, you won't see anything superfluous. So if we look at this clue and we read it without the A, German bearing last of gifts for her, it means almost exactly the same thing, which means that A is probably important, either because we need to translate it into German, or because it actually is necessary for the wordplay. Now, German can be G. Now, I'm wondering if bearing here is northeast. If you bear northeast, that might be a legitimate bearing. And then we have AG, a bearing, northeast. The last of the word gifts is S, the last letter. And Agnes is a girl's name. I quite like that. Let's try 24 down. So now we've got he follows Nick losing task. Finally. A comfortable position. Okay, well that's fine. So again, we just need to read the clue very literally, ignore its surface meaning, and try and do what it says. So he follows. So we need to put he after something. So let's put it at the end and see if we need to manipulate it any further. Nick losing task finally. Well, the last letter, the final letter of the word task is K. And if Nick loses a K, Nick becomes NIC. So we could put NIC. That creates the word niche, which is a comfortable position. If you find your niche, you find your you find the place where you belong. Right, let's try 28. Newsreader briefly. I hope this isn't going to be an actual... Oh, anchor. I was wondering about anchor. The anchor is a... You know, a newsreader is sometimes described as an anchor. Oh, anchovies. That's lovely. It is. So it's anchor for a newsreader, but that's briefly. It's treated briefly. That when you see briefly, it means cut off the last letter. I don't think I've ever seen it mean cut off more than the last letter. So if you see briefly or shortly, it will almost always mean just cut the last letter off. And then we need a 4-letter word for struggles, vies, V-I-E-S. That gives us anchovies, which are little fish. That's lovely. Right, and let's try 31. We'll be greedy. Picture, I'm thinking ewer, E-W-E-R. Yeah, that's fine. Throwing last of balls. So here, the way this equation works is it's saying x equals the answer. So picture is the answer. And that equals a word for a gutter minus the last of the letter of the word balls. So like sewer is a gutter minus the S, the last letter of the word balls. That gives ewer, and a ewer is a pitcher. It's a big jug, isn't it? So now let's look at 15 down. Oh, this was the one I thought was going to be sort of like bacchanalia. It looks less likely that to be that now. I mean, it could be something like back. Not sure how it would end. Drive a taxi, reversing round church. You see, that's quite good. Bacchanal, could it be that? I'm not sure. So, okay, how have I got to that? Well, I'm very unsure about the ending here, but a taxi reversing is going to be a cab reversing, and that goes round an abbreviation for church, which is CH. If you see church in cryptic crosswords, it's always going to be CH for church or CE for Church of England. Be one of those things. So this looks really nice as a start of a word that means something to do with drunken revelry. Bacchanalia is the word I'm trying to think of. Now, how have I got this ending then? Well, for some reason I'm thinking of the word elan, which means sort of, if you show spirit, you show elan. And I'm wondering whether that could be the same if you show drive, do you show spirit? And maybe that's elan as well. So elan is sort of style, isn't it? Panache. And if all of that is right, that would allow me, so drive, elan, this A here, taxi, cab, is all reversed around CH. And if this is a word for drunken scenes, we're good. We're golden. Now, the only other, given that I really like the start of this, the only way this is wrong is if there is another 4-letter word that means drive, beginning E blank A blank. Just let me think about that for a second. I can't think of anything very likely. So I quite like that. I'm not certain about it, but I quite like it. It could be wrong, but hopefully it isn't. So now we've just got to get into this top half, don't we? Have we looked at this clue? Oh yeah, we did. We looked at that clue. Yeah. Creature. I mean, creature, arisen, upset. That must be an anagram. The prince cracks eggs. It's almost too much going on in this clue. It's like it's cluing too many letters. I want it to be the name of a creature. Okay, I mean, this is the one we should be able to get, shouldn't we? Or I should be able to get. Friend. I can't actually think of any word that fits. Compressor. That would be something that increases pressure, perhaps. Compressor. Let's put compressor in. probably that spelling, I'm not sure. Why on earth is this right? Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that would not appear in the Times. I've never seen that before, but I love it. Friend here is one of the friends from the sitcom Friends. It's Ross. So Ross has been kept back after school. A comprehensive is a school. Comp. And then RE for scripture lesson. That's beautiful. Comp, re, and then a reversal of Ross. I love that. That's brilliant. That's quite brilliant. Okay, so let's go back here. Arisen. Well, Prince cracks eggs. I quite like the idea. Oh, possum would fit, and I bet it's opossum somehow. I don't quite understand why, but I've got to let me think about this. So, creature is opossum. Arisen is that? Oh, look, I'm getting a dreaded blue wheel. Hopefully, that's not the graphics card going kaput. Creature arisen. So arisen could be up, couldn't it? After Prince, that's going to be after Prince. Right. So Prince cracking eggs. An egg is sort of something that's roughly round shape. So I think eggs here is double O. And then P for Prince is cracking double O at the start. And then, okay, if you muss somebody's hair, I think you upset it. And that word muss is arisen, i.e. it's reversed. This is a down clue. So if something is arisen, it would reverse, wouldn't it? Gosh, that's tricky. So, and that would give us opossum, which is presumably answer. Is this militia then? A force could be militia, yeah. I don't quite know how the wordplay works, but let's work that out. So, militia, girl to keep one tipsy. Oh, one lit. So it's Mia, M-I-A, that's girl's name. To keep one, that's this one here, the letter I. You can think of that in different ways. One as in a person would be I, or one as in the Roman numeral would be I. And then if you're lit, you're drunk. So I lit in Mia is how that works. And then we've got 9 down. Troops run shelters to follow drug dealer. Troops. Run shelters to follow drug dealer. God, yeah. I was wondering about something like retailer for a dealer, and the only reason for that is that has got tail in it. And if I tail somebody, I follow them. Retailer. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to put it in with hope but not expectation. Now let's try and understand whether that could be right. So troops could be Royal Engineers. No. Oh, well, yeah, okay. Yes, this is right. Gosh, this is very difficult though. So I spoke earlier about the need to cut the clue in the correct position to find the exact, which is the quick crossword clue here. It is the word dealer. But the rest of this is complicated. So what you need to know is that R can be abbreviated, an abbreviation of run. Troops can be RE for Royal Engineers. Troops in cryptic crosswords is a nightmare because soldiers have so many abbreviations. OR would be another for other ranks. RA for the Royal Artillery. Things like that. So, but here, troops is RE. R is R. Run is R. Shelters is saying surrounds. A word for to follow, that's to tail. And drug is E, as in a tablet of E. So the way this works is we've got, Yeah, we've got troops, RE, and R, all sheltering to follow, and E for the drug. And that gives us retailer, which is going to be correct. So 14 across. Oh, I've not looked at this. Returning note following a case of... Oh, fair. Dues. Okay. Well, here again, if we can cut the clue in the correct place, it becomes very easy. And here we have to cut it between fair and dues. So that, believe it or not, this is a word that means dues. Now, what could that be? Now, that could be DOS, couldn't it? Sort of, if we're prepared to go into other languages. Or it could mean dues as in a hairdo. Now, if we have the thought hairdo, what hairdo could fit in here? And the one that we need is an afro. And that's because we've got the return of a note. Now, that's going to be so. We'll come back to that. Following a case of fair. So following is saying we need to return a word that means note. After A, that's this A here, a case of the word fair. The casing letters are the F and the R. This F and this R. And that's all going to give us hairdos, afros. Now Y is note, so. And that, if you remember the song, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, Do, a deer, a female deer. Well, those notes there all have spellings. And so is one of the spellings of Do, Re, Mi, Fa, So, La, Ti, Do. Other spellings, I think, include Sol. Let's have a look at that, see if I'm right. Yeah, there we go. The fifth note, Sol is the fifth note of the scale. Also So or SOH. So they all have a variety of quite difficult or perhaps counterintuitive spellings. Now we've only got two left now, so we've got, oh, this is the were one. Where in Lancashire? Is that, I mean, is this a pun? Is this saying if you're in Lancashire and you say the word where, you might say were? It might be. That could be right. I'm prepared to believe it. So, and if that was right, well, it's still working from our anagram perspective, isn't it? And we've just got to come up with a stovepipe. Yeah, that's right. Stovepipe, I think, is a high hat. Stovepipe is a type of hat. Oh, it didn't tell me I was right. Do I have to... Oh, check. I see, I can check. So perhaps I have to click. Oh, hang on, I was meant to look for something in the grid. Now. Okay. So if you're ever asked to look for things in the grid, places to look would be the diagonals. You can see in this puzzle, the diagonals aren't part of the words. So that's often a place where constructors might try to hide things. Steve. Steve is coming down here. S-T-E-V-E. Oh, I see. Now I've got it. Okay. Greg, please, P-L-E-A-S-E, give Steve, this is unbelievable, Steve, I can't see anything there, 5 points. So okay, so oh, goodness me, so Steve has gone on Taskmaster and written a cryptic crossword that has appeared in The Guardian, and then presumably been able to tell Greg Davies to give him 5 points on the show. Well, you deserve the 5 points, Steve. That's brilliant. What a brilliant puzzle. Good grief. That's great. Now, is it right? Does it check this or check all? I don't know. Let's just click. I clicked check this. It didn't do anything. Reveal all, reveal this, check all. Confirm, check all. Okay. I don't know. Or is it saying blase is wrong? Or is that just... Let's try again. Check all. Confirm, check all. I think it's right. Maybe if I'd got an answer wrong, it would do something different. I thought it might say well done or something, but it doesn't seem to want to. But that's fantastic. Isn't that fantastic? What a beautiful puzzle. Full of wonderful clues, actually. Steve is, well, I shouldn't be that surprised. He's a brilliant writer. And it appears he's also a brilliant brilliant crossword writer. Oh, I tell you what we could do. We could check Backen. Oh. You see, look. Where is Bacchanali? It's not quite there, is it? So have I got that wrong? Well, I tell you what, if we look up elan and it says drive, oh, elan's definitely a word. Vigor and style, impetuosity. It was something like drive a taxi, wasn't it? But it didn't show me that I got it wrol when I said check it. The only reason I'm pausing is that if we look up Bacchanal is a word, but I can't see one ending in E there. That might just be that the dictionary hasn't got it. I mean, I can't believe it doesn't begin B-A-C-C-H from the wordplay we got. Drunken revels, here we go, Bacchanalia. That was the first idea I had. Gnarls. Well, I could believe Bacchanals if this letter was an S. Very much I could believe it, but it's not an S, it's definitely an E. So I think that must just be an alternative word. I'm fairly confident that's right. Let's look up escalopt. Can't type now, sorry. Escalloped. Covered with scallop shells. Breadcrumbs. Wasn't it meant to be breadcrumbs? Or am I going crazy? I might be going crazy. Oh, hang on. Yes, I've got to do a call in a minute, so the video will need to end soon. Oh, Tassies. That was a complete guess as well. I forgot about that one. Tassie. Tasmania. Also, it's got a small letter here. A small cup, Scottish, yeah, okay, so that was right. Is there anything else there that was particularly... I mean, there was quite a few tricky clues, but they're all fair, and they're all brilliant, actually. Anyway, there we go, I have to go. So I'm going to stop there. Steve, that was brilliant. Loved it. Much respect, and let me know in the comments if you enjoy these cryptic crossword videos, and let me know also if you agree with Steve and me that the best thing you can get into, frankly, is puzzles of this sort of nature. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.